Hate cannot stand by itself. It is always leaning on something deeper. And if you follow its roots far enough, you will discover fear. Take the man who boasts in cruelty. On the surface, he seems strong, commanding, even feared by others. But beneath the posture lies the terror of being powerless, of being unworthy, of being nothing. Or look at jealousy. It feels sharp, bitter, consuming. Yet at its core, it's fear of not being enough, fear of being abandoned, fear of being unseen. Consider arrogance. It looks like confidence, it sounds like certainty. But arrogance is only the endless attempt to cover a wound. The arrogant man must keep proving himself because he is terrified of being small. His pride is the mask he wears to hide the fear of being invisible. And think of the ignorant person who insists on always being right, who argues endlessly and refuses to listen. Outwardly, it looks like strength, even certainty. But if you look closer, you'll see it is fear driving the show. Fear of being wrong, fear of being exposed, fear that if their ideas collapse, they themselves will collapse with them. So, to understand the root of all evil, we must look not at hate, not at cruelty, not at arrogance themselves, but at the root cause that gives them life. And that root is fear. Fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of death. Remove fear, and the whole house of suffering crumbles. If you look closely at human behavior, you'll see how much of it is quietly driven by the ego. The ego is that fragile image of me we carry around, the story of who we think we are. What we own, what others think of us. And the ego is always afraid, because deep down it knows it is only a story, a mask, a bundle of memories and labels that could be torn away in an instant. So people cling to possessions, not because the objects matter so much, but because losing them feels like losing a piece of themselves. They chase recognition and status, not only for joy, but because the ego cannot bear to be unseen. This is why human beings lash out, grasp, dominate, and defend, not because they are evil at their core, but because their ego is terrified of disappearing. And when you see this, you stop taking people's behavior so personally. You begin to understand that the cruelty, the stubbornness, the arrogance you encounter are really desperate attempts to protect a fragile sense of self. And suddenly, instead of seeing an enemy, you see a frightened child hiding behind a mask.